Hey, mountaineers and backpackers in training. It's so good to be live with you tonight. I just want to say how excited I am about our group. It has grown really rapidly in the past couple of weeks. We have 41 members the last time I looked. So I just really want to encourage you guys to make this group yours. You can post on the wall, you can share updates, you can look for activity partners. I'm not the only one that gets to post in this group. In fact, I really hope you guys will. So yeah, just really make it your own. And if you are new to the group, one thing I'd love to see you do is just hop on, tell us, where you're at, what you're training for. Are you a mountaineer? Are you a backpacker? Even if you don't have a big goal in mind yet, that's fine. Just, what are you thinking about doing this summer? I think I'd like to know, and probably lots of people in our group would love to know. So yeah, it's not just my group, make it your own. I screen pretty carefully who gets in here. So I know you all are, cool people that are very sincere and serious about doing this mountaineering and backpacking thing. So yeah, so as promised, I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about how to make more time for fun. And this is actually one of my favorite topics. I'm a very time-oriented person. I just did like an Ayurvedic quiz to find out like what your dosha is, like kind of your dharma in life. And I'm definitely a pitta, which is such a fiery personality, and you're like high energy, getting stuff done, hustling all the time, and maybe not necessarily like really taking time to reflect or enjoy your successes or reflect on your failures. But time to me is such a commodity. And I know when you guys are training for backpacking and mountaineering, it is very time consuming. So time becomes very important to you as well, whether you're, if you're working a full-time job or you have a family or kids, or we all have other commitments in our life that are so important. And we all just get wrapped up in our stuff and all the things we have to do in our hustle, and it is just really important to really think about and get strategic about really making time for training, and also time for fun, and time to really go out and enjoy the things that we enjoy doing out in nature, out in the mountains, and not being like, oh my gosh, I need to get back and do this report for work. So let's talk a little bit. I actually wrote a blog post a little while ago that I'm going to drop a link to in the comments. Hey, Irene. I know you make time for fun. The funnest girl I know watching right now. So I'm going to drop a link to a blog post I wrote a couple months ago about 7 ways to make time for fun. And I thought I'd just share 3 that are really the most actionable right now, like in this live, to kind of get you started. So, and because I have squirrel brain, I have notes. I'm going to look at them. So the number one thing that has really helped me make more time for training is really just to get better at saying no. For some people, I think that's actually not a hard thing, and if that's you, you're super lucky. It's not me. I like everyone to feel good. I like everyone around me to be like, oh, Sarah's so accommodating, Sarah's so helpful, and then poor Sarah's laying on the floor. I have nothing left to give. So some examples of things you can say no to, and I'm kind of pulling from my life. If you have examples from your lives, please drop in the comments. Irene, let me know what you say no to. I know you're probably better at this than me, but things I say no to, a good example in Denver, going to concerts I don't like. I get tons of invitations let's go see so-and-so band, and I'm like, yeah, then I gotta go take a whole evening off and pay money, and I've never even heard of this band. I mean, I want to be fun, I want to be social, but maybe I want to save my time for when some band I like comes to town, and hopefully people will go with me. If not, maybe I'll just go by myself. That'll be fun too. Other things, people from the distant past that want to hang out. I feel like this is kind of one of the banes of the social media age. I get people that I talked to 2 years ago messaging me, and they're just very sweet and very sincere, and they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you for a long time. Let's just go have coffee and catch up. And I'm like, I don't know, I've kind of moved on, but you know, you feel like it's nice that they reached out. So you kind of want to say yes, even though it's maybe not going to add a ton to your life. Probably if it was going to add to your life, you would have stayed in touch with them in the first place. Another one, people who want to pick your brain. I think as you guys get more into mountaineering and more into backpacking and your Facebook gets filled up with all these exciting training hikes and hikes you've been on, people will be like, oh my gosh, let me take you out for a beer or out to dinner and you can tell me all about so-and-so. And that's nice, but you know, you're kind of like, you know, I can tell you a little bit on email, I can post a link to a really good trip report. I don't necessarily need to go out with you to tell you all this stuff. The brain pickers. My business coach calls those the brain pickers. Like the brain pickers will just like bleed you dry if you let them, and be ready. You guys are doing cool things, so you're gonna have brain pickers in your life probably, and they're so sweet and they're so sincere and you want to help them. But if it's someone that's not very close to you, it's totally fine to just say no, you know, we don't need to have coffee, send them a link. So be really, I guess my whole point and my long-winded way of saying, be like super intentional about what you say yes to, and think about like, you know, the most successful people in any part of life, whether it's athletics like you, backpacking, mountaineering, business, you know, they have to say no to a lot of stuff. And kind of like one of the phrases I love is you have to say no to good so you can say yes to great. I think that's a great one for dating, right? You can date some mediocre dude and, you know, then Mr. Wonderful comes along and you're, you know, you kind of got a boyfriend and you're just like, oh crap, how can I get rid of him? But yeah, so, you know, really start thinking about the things in your life that you want to be intentional about and say yes to, and say no to all the riffraff, the noise, all the other stuff. So say no, my number one tip, hardest one for me. Second one, really re-engineer your social life. This is a hard one for me. I'm very extroverted. I really love like, you know, kind of making everyone happy. I'm kind of a pleaser. But, you know, over the past few years, you know, I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been training, I've been running a business, I've been still like working my day job, studying for the CPT right now, just got done with a business accelerator. It's a ton of stuff, right? And you just kind of have to, if you're gonna have like healthy social relationships, just really think about who the people are that energize you, that build you up, where there's a healthy give and take, and all the rest of the people, you not like you get rid of them. That's not like you don't like them anymore, but they don't get your time and energy. So I think what that's turned into is I have like, you know, a much closer circle of friends now. Not that, you know, it might not expand back in the future when I have more time, but there's really like, maybe like 5 or 6 people that just really fill me up and make my heart happy and make my vibration good, and that's who I spend time with. So some examples, like if there's negative people in your life, like I know probably some of us are just really sensitive to other people's vibrations. If there's people that don't believe in you, don't believe in what you're doing, think this, you spending all this time on training is silly, like why would you want to go backpacking? You know, maybe they get a little distance right now, and that's totally okay. If you're stuck with negative people, I mean, I think one of the hardest things sometimes, and I know I've been through this, is like when the negative people are your partner or your spouse or your kids or your parents. They're people you're kind of stuck with, right? You know, it does, their physical presence in your life, you know, just might be, you know, a reality, and they're there and you're happy that they're there and happy for what they can give, but maybe they just don't get your highest energy right now. And especially when they're being negative, they're just, you're not listening, they're gone. Like you just don't have time for that. You gotta train, you gotta do good things and good work in your life. So just, you know, it's possible to really, you know, speak to someone's highest self and really interact with them on that level. And then when they're being negative, you're just not doing it. Like maybe you can't leave the room and you're talking to them, but it's just not coming in you. And then I like, one of the things that I really, really love, someone told this to one of my business coaches, was you really got to treat yourself like an Olympic athlete. Like when you're doing something big, when you're doing something great in your life, and you guys are, like you're gonna go and do big backpacking trips, hopefully, or maybe even if you're just getting started, you're gonna, you know, do a backpacking trip, and it's gonna be wonderful, but there's so much you need to learn and so much you need to train for. So really treat yourself like an athlete. And if you think about an Olympic athlete, like if you think about Lindsey Vonn, like she goes to bed early. She, you know, she eats good food. She has to take a lot of time for herself to keep herself sharp. She doesn't have time for like rotten, negative people and, you know, negative things in her life. So this is a great time to just really clean all that out and focus on you, work on you, because, you know, you need it, and it's going to pay off in the end, and you're going to be a better athlete. You're going to be like a happier person. I really think it's true. So say no, kind of re-engineer your social life, get rid of all the negative people. And number 3, really let go of perfection. I'm a big believer in the 20-80 principle. I don't know, you know, when we're talking about training, I want you guys to hear all the tips and, you know, give you guys all the bells and whistles, but really fundamentally, training is pretty simple. Like if you think about the 20-80 principle, there's 20% of the stuff you do that, you know, it does 80% of the work, and the rest is just kind of icing. So for us mountaineers and backpackers, like working on your aerobic capacity, your long, slow workouts, that is your 20%. That is the stuff that, you know, no matter what's happening in your life, you can kind of let some other things go. If you do that, then you're probably going to be fine. You might not be like at your 100% like best fitness of your life, but you know, you'll be great. You'll be fine. So 20-80 principle, just start applying that to everything in your life. And if something happens to you, like, you know, you have to travel for work, or maybe like, oh, God forbid, like a loved one is ill and you need some extra time to care for them, or you have to travel because of a family member's illness, 20%, like what, you know, let the rest go. You don't have to be perfect. You know, just do the things that are most important and prioritize them, and you know, you're gonna be fine. You'll still be able to do what you want to do, climb your mountain, hike your backpacking loop, and you know, even if you're a little bit undertrained, that's actually better than being overtrained in endurance sports. So really think about that too. Don't panic. Hey Louise, nice to see you. So number 3, the 20-80, the 80-20 principle, I think is what it's usually called. But think about the 20%, like what do you really need to do to accomplish your goals? And sometimes it's okay to let the rest go. So yeah, 3 things to really, sorry. I'm just making sure I told you guys everything. No, so the 3 things you really need to do to make more time for fun. Start saying no more. Oh, hey, Alicia. Start saying no more. Re-engineer your social life. All the negativity gone. Even if you're stuck with it, you don't hear it. And number 3, just, you know, let go of perfection. You can do a lot just by focusing on the priorities, whether that's your training priorities, or that also works for other things in life. What's the 20% that's going to give you 80% of the results? So that's just 3 of the 7 ways I talk about in my blog post about how to make more time for fun. If you want to read the other 4, I am going to drop a link in the comments. But for now, I hope that was helpful. I know you guys are awesome. I know you guys are training. I know you don't have a lot of time for training and you don't have a lot of time for fun. This is kind of a time when it's so important to really focus on yourself, and just it's a great time. Like, one thing I really loved about training and getting into mountaineering, yes, more focus on priorities, Alicia says. It's so true. Yeah, that's one thing I loved about mountaineering, is it's just, you're so busy and the goal is so focused, and it just makes everything so clear. You're just like, I know what I want to do and I know what I don't want to do, and you know, it's much, I wouldn't say it's like easy to separate it, but it gets much easier than just in your everyday life. So anyway, yeah, have a wonderful evening. Great talking to you, and I hope to see you guys in the group. Enjoy the group. Like I said, post, make it your own, share pictures of you guys kicking ass. That's so fun for all of us to see, and yeah, have a good one.